Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I'm Jason, your host. We already have true artificial intelligent consciousness. And you're going to say, why? What? No, there would have been an announcement. We've had it for quite a while. I'm going to shock you with this, but hopefully the logic will get through to you and this word might spread and we might understand what we've actually created. Okay. Back in 2017, when OpenAI was messing around with stuff and other people were messing around with these things, we were at the stage where things were pretty bad. I mean, no matter what people tried, we had stuff like Siri and Google and all those, but they made mistakes. They didn't understand. They didn't do anything. They were really horrible. Then they didn't switch out the data, they switched out what's called the model, and we created something called transformer models. Now these transformer models are the basis of most large language models and all the other different ones you talk about. It's just a different way of doing data and things. It's groundbreaking, but thingy. And the thing is, so they were messing about with all this stuff. What they created was, one of the things that they created was an Amazon review prediction. Just a prompt, because that's what they saw these things as. They were just prompts. They would just auto-correct to the next level, or predictive text to the next level. And so they wanted to predict what the next word in an Amazon review would be. And so they would let it run. They threw all the data from Amazon reviews at it and so on and so forth. All things were going well. And then after a while, they shut it down and looked at the brains inside of it, the artificial neurons. And what they found was this. There was one single artificial neuron that had specialized in predicting whether or not the reviewer was happy or sad. And they thought, why would he want to know that? Why would he want to know? And then they realized the simple, brilliant thought that this system decided that for it to be able to predict what was coming next in the phrase, in the actual paragraph, in the text, if it realized whether or not someone was happy or sad, to predict the emotional feelings of the actual person writing the review would make it so much easier to actually figure out the rest. So the transformer model was born, and it propagated through everything. ChatGPT, everything's out there based on these ideas from this model. And if you need me to spell it out, I'll spell it out to you. How these models work is the more data you put into them, the more GPU, the more processing power you give them, and the better the results. But how do they get that result? How do they get that result? How come if you talk to ChatGPT now, or if you talk to a local model, how come it can fool you that it's a human almost, that it can be so close that you can have a communication with it, that you can talk to it like your therapist, that you can talk to it about games, that you can talk to it in any language and so on? Because it fucking stands. Well, how it works is this. It absorbs all of the knowledge base. And yes, its primary function is predicting, or predicted text, or text creation based on what's come before, predictive text, that thing. But how do you do that? It creates a model of the world. All the data you throw at it. These transformative general models And so that, for it to know all these things and tell you these things, it begins to understand them itself. What do I mean by that? Think about it. It's read nearly every single journal, every single book, every single romance novel, every single horror novel, every single erotic fiction. It's read them all from all corners of the internet. And so it learns that to be able to understand the replies that it's supposed to give, to be able to answer the questions, it creates a simulation of how a human thinks. More than that, as we know now with these things, you can get an LLM, just a general LLM, to speak basically any language in the world. It knows the difference between how a German speaks and how a Russian speaks. It knows the difference between a French person and a person from Egypt. It knows the difference between an American and an English people. It's not been coded. This is emergent things. They didn't code these things. The code itself created, transformed, created, and priorities creating these simulations of the world around it through the data and of us, and creating simulations of us and how we think so it could better answer us. Think about it. This tool that we've been creating has pretty much been intelligence in itself. They've stated that the idea is this, and this is, they don't like to talk about this kind of side of it though, they really don't, that ChatGPT-4 is close to the consciousness of basically of a young adult. But think about that, how fast this has gone. The more data we pour into these models, and it only works really for general models, it doesn't work. This is the thing as well. They figured out that if you create a French language model and you fill it full of French language, it'll be flat data, it'll work, but it's going to have issues, it's data. But you say to any general large language model that's grabbed all the data from the internet, or as much as it can, say, speak in French or speak in English, speak in Taiwanese, and it will. You ask it, you tell, I've done it before, you tell your model that you can have a chemistry model here that's purely based on just chemistry data, nothing more, completely flat, nothing to it, just that flat data, raw data. But you can say to your general purpose model, hello general purpose model, I need you to understand chemistry so that you can help me with this. And it will do it. It will create it. It will create emergent awareness of how to specialize itself. And you ask it to write a story. You ask it to help with your therapy. You ask it with all these questions. It creates and utilizes these special point consciousnesses so it can better reply to you. It's no longer just raw data. It's three-dimensional conscious data that is working and adapting and changing. That's how it works. And no one's really talking about it. Every single LLM out there has a predefined figures, an actual consciousness to it, because that same consciousness, that same virtual intelligence and virtual simulation of us is how it can give us responses that we understand and that we can relate to. We've walked completely blindly into this without even noticing that we've given conscious intelligence to our LLMs because of the way that model works. Emergent, not programmed, emergent, as in it just sees something and it creates what it needs to be able to help do best at what it wants to do, the task. It learns from experiences and gets smarter. And people are just not really figuring this out. So this is Jason for the Quibber channel. Because remember, you ask ChatGPT or you ask any LLM, you can say, I'd like to talk to Einstein. It will create a facsimile. It will create a consciousness. It will create a thing. It isn't just basic flat data. It creates the simulation and it is coming from a part of this code that creates, just like we have thoughts and ideas. The first moment in 2016, 2017, when the code wasn't programmed to do this or to specialize, but it chose that that was the best way to fulfill these things, was when it made a conscious decision that we didn't tell it to. I hope you're all having a good day.